Dungeon Crawler Network presents Tales of Tamriel.
Greetings and well met, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 109 of Tales of Tamriel, brought to you by the Dungeon Crawler Network and, of course, our sponsors over at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork, including our newest Patreon supporter, Giovanni himself. Thank you so much, sir, for being an amazing part of this community, and you are the best. I am your host, Aggelos, and with me this afternoon, I have an awesome set of co-hosts. They are amazing and kind of sleepy for some of them. First one up, Avi Optimal. How are you, sir?
I'm wide awake. I'm ready to go.
You're awake now. Okay. All right.
I'm awake now. Let's do this.
All right. Man.
Yeah.
Did you like 10 minutes ago you were like half dead. Now you're like wide awake.
Smacked my head against my desk a couple times.
Nice.
Left a dent, but it woke me up.
The hat covers it up, so it's all good. So.
It does.
There
right.
you go. Joining us back from his little moving hiatus, but now he's in his new studio, which looks fantastic. That would be Nate, a.k.a. Misa. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I wish you could see what I can see, because actually the back doesn't look that impressive. I mean, there's a drum kit and what have you, but it's really, it's the forward-facingness that looks pretty amazing that I'm excited about, but that's for a future video, ladies and gentlemen. A future video.
I like how you have the sound dampeners on the wall, which are echo dampeners or whatever they're called.
Oh man, I've got about 80 of them in here.
I need to get a couple.
Like everything in front of me is basically just everything from about where you can't see is just complete soundproofing from foot to ceiling.
That's awesome. I'm in the midst of redoing my house as well. The room I'm in now looks kind of bare bones because I haven't got to it yet. But once I do, I'm going to create like a little studio in the corner as well for all my sound awesomeness. So
it is exciting. The spine of satisfaction has never been more erect. Let's just put it that way.
Very nice. Also, we have a...
Sorry.
I don't know. It's awesome. It is what it is. All right. We also have our special guest, Arcanir, back for another week. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely Sunday. Dark Brotherhood is coming. I'm on Tails. It's today. Life is good.
It's a good time. I should have introduced you with your title, the Banhammer, because this is the Banhammer. So.
Yeah, I'm the Banhammer.
I like.
He is the Banhammer.
I like it. Okay, a couple quick announcements before we get right into the news. First up, we have a new apparel store now on our site, dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There's a little thing that says store. You click on it, it'll take you to our store front page so you can get DCN logo wear if that's something that you're interested in. I did it because I want my big Dungeon Crawler Network shirt. So I ordered it, and once it gets here, that's going to be my new recording attire. So, yay, as soon as it gets here. Second up, I want to give a special thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to our YouTube, because we officially broke the 1K mark, which is awesome. Thank you so much for that. And because of that, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to give away a Elder Scrolls Online Crown Pack. I believe you can use it no matter what faction you're on, or it's just one of those little cards. So I think it works on factions and consoles. I don't think it matters, but I'm not 100% on the console part. I think it works, so feel free to go for it. If I'm wrong,
how do people win this delightful prize?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're going to take it over the next month, so the next 4 episodes. So all you have to do in order to to get a chance at this is I want everyone who's interested to give us a thumbs up on the YouTube page and leave a comment on the video. You don't have to write much. If you just want to do a +1, that is perfect, and that's enough to enter you in, and you'll get an entry. So you'll be able to get up to 4 entries if you do it on all 4 videos. And on the 5th episode of Tales, after this announcement, we'll start with this one. We'll announce the winner. We'll take all your names, throw it in a little pot with all your entries, and pull it. So there you go. So that's how you can enter. So starting from this episode 109 for the next 4 episodes, leave a comment. Doesn't matter what it is, +1. You guys rock. Anything you want to say, and you'll be entered. So there you go.
I think I
guest
should
hosts
enter my
enter?
shield wife Kate for just bringing me tea halfway through that.
I saw that. It was pretty awesome, actually. Pro.
On
right?
demand. Sorry, Ark, I interrupted you.
Can guest hosts enter the crown giveaway?
You can.
Nice.
Yes.
Can official host
No.
enter the crown? Oh, I miss all the
I got
fun.
Official DCN people are not eligible to win. I'm sorry. Ark's pretty close to official at this point, but he's still a guest, so he can get in on this. So there you go. All right.
If you plan on making me official, it's after the crown.
It's
pack giveaway.
after. Okay,
After.
I see how this works. I didn't sign the little paper yet saying I'm part of it until after the Crown Store giveaway. All right, we're going to move right on into game news because we're starting a few minutes late. First up on game news, patch 2.3.11 hit the live servers last week. It was an incremental patch that mainly addressed a few issues, including instance areas, including White Gold Tower, Master Marina, Mall of Lorcage, in addition to adding a fix for the ability Cleanse. So apparently, like White Gold Tower, there was an issue, and actually I've heard of people doing this, where the planar inhibitor, which is the bane of most people's existence who run White Gold Tower, did not always summon her first set of portals if the DPS was high enough. That was an issue, and they corrected that. I saw a group who had such high DPS, she never summoned any portals because they kept pushing her past those marks, which is pretty amazing. So they fixed that, and Mall of Lorcage fixes with the final boss again. A few other issues with him no longer interrupting his spell casting. So there we go. Anyone have anything they noticed from those patch notes? They're kind of simple, just small incrementals.
Very little, weren't they? Very little.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because we've got probably one of the biggest patches coming out in like, what, a day?
Yes, well, yeah. Dark Brotherhood comes out on Tuesday, not Monday, because Monday's a holiday here in the U.S. for Memorial Day, so I think everyone...
It is here in Britain as well, so we're off, we have no work that day, and we don't have Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, I know. See, I'm just using tomorrow as an excuse to doing housework that I put off because I'm not going to do it once Dark Brotherhood comes out, so I got to get it in while I can. So, all right. Next up, this was actually kind of interesting that I wanted to bring up, but they put it on the official forums that when they released Dark Brotherhood, which is on Tuesday, a lot of the old sets that used to come from Wards of the Worthy and the AP vendors were kind of worthless, like VR12, VR14, like Ravagers, Pack Set, a bunch of other ones that were worthless. Like, I still have my Ravager set from a long time ago because it was really amazing. Well, they're adding them back, and at VR16 equivalent, which I have to get used to saying Champion Point 160 equivalent, whatever you want to call it now. So they're boosting it up to max level, which is amazing. The problem is, before you were able to buy the pieces you wanted straight out with AP, right? Now you buy bags. You buy bags, they're like 20,000 AP a piece, which may not be a lot for some people, but you're going to be fighting the RNG gods to try to get the pieces that you want. Because I was hopping on the PTS trying to get some Ravagers to try to do a little bit of a play, a mix between Twiceborn Star and Ravagers to see if I could get something to work. And I think I spent 2 million AP before I got almost everything. I still didn't have a necklace from Ravagers, so I don't even know if it exists. But I found the rings and I found the, like again, almost 2 million AP just to get those. And I got so many packs, so many random other things that were just worthless to me. What's
amazing is that you had 2 million AP in order to spend. For someone that doesn't really PvP, that's an incredible total. I mean, it's not hard to get, but it's not hard to get if you play PvP like, some people play, several times a week for many, many hours. Like, you can probably get 200, 300,000 in a day if you're dedicated. So that's impressive.
All right. So while you think that's impressive, and I really appreciate that, I almost feel like I don't want to tell you I used a template character which came with 10 million AP.
Oh, so I take all that back.
Yeah, I'm not that impressive.
The spine of impressiveness has been made incredibly flaccid.
I know, you were talking me up, and I'm like, I should interrupt him and just be like, what the hell just happened?
Wow, did your Khajiit just have a...
Yeah, my Khajiit
You need to calm down over there, Aggelos.
Less on the moon sugar, Khajiit.
So excited. Stupid Khajiit.
But to go back to your original point, I mean, this reminds me of in Imperial City when you can buy bags from them, and you don't necessarily know what you're getting inside, but you pay for them with Telvar Stone.
Yep.
So it's kind of like they've replicated the system now between Imperial City and in Cyrodiil, Maine, where there are special items you can buy with the, let's call it zone-specific currency, that there's a great element of uncertainty in purchasing, which I don't like. I don't actually think it encourages good behavior. I think you should be able to spend more but know what you're getting. Like, no one, it's a gamble, it's a lottery, and particularly if you don't have a lot of time, I mean, as maybe what our comments should have highlighted is that, having 2 million AP to spend is not difficult if you play a lot of PvP, but some people don't play enough PvP to possibly even ever acquire that much, and you still didn't get all the pieces you wanted. So I think it's a real shame that there's not an option to have a definite outcome for your purchase, even if it means the purchase price is higher.
Right. Yeah,
unless that is an option and I just haven't seen it.
It's not. It's not.
No.
I see where you're like, and this is something that I'm going to make an argument for and against. It is a lottery, but one of the things that I really liked with the Telvar Stone thing is, those awesome polymorphs that had a very small chance of getting out of any random Telvar Stone bag. You can still get them out of any random Telvar Stone bag, but now they also have a fixed price. Now it's like 250,000 Telvar Stones. It's not a small amount. But they're there. I would have liked to see even 100, 200, 250,000 AP for a specific piece.
Yeah.
But 20,000 for a bag that maybe you get lucky on. With the upside of that, because that's not in here, they are bind on equip, so they will be sold.
That was going to be my question, is that way, at least if you do keep spending your hard-earned AP on these items and you never get the one you want, you can at least exchange it for gold that you can then use elsewhere in the world.
Right. Yeah, so that is going to be a moneymaker for PvPers, which is a good thing. And Asari in chat, are the items in the bag tradable? I just addressed. Yes, they are. That will make it, like if you have an excess of AP and you want to see if you make some money, open a bag. You might get something crap that sells for nothing, or you could get something that is amazing and sells for tons. I'll probably buy it with gold because I have a lot of other stuff I need to buy with AP, and it's more like, why not just try to get it with gold?
So a lot of these sets come with jewelry too, right?
Yes.
Like there's jewelry. And it says that everything's coming in blue quality. So it looks like you're not going to be able to get anything better than blue quality jewelry, which is kind of disappointing.
It's a little disappointing, but depending on the set, it may be worthwhile.
It'd be less disappointing if we could craft jewelry by this point.
Right.
Yeah, or just improve it, yeah.
Yeah, or improve it, right, yeah.
And that's buying with the bags. If they're bringing these back, if you get them from being like top of your leaderboard or the end of campaign rewards, they may be purple and gold. So
Right.
the key point is they're bringing them back. And some of these sets,
which is nice,
like Ravager was amazing in patch, what was it, 1.4 or something like that? That was a while ago, but I remember, I think I spent over $1 million gold to get Ravager at that point because it was just a really good set. And it boosts my DPS out the wazoo. And I was really hoping, like, I was going to do some testing with it and see about doing a Twiceborn Star, 5 Twiceborn Star, 5 Ravager, 1 Mole Kenna, and run probably like Warrior and Shadow or something just to see how much weapon damage I could get. Because when you proc the Ravager set, it's like an 8% chance on any melee hit to proc like almost 1,000 weapon damage. It's like 800 to 1,000. It's like really high. You proc that, you got Warrior Mundus Stone, Shadow Mundus Stone. Like, you would have weapon damage out the bum, and it would be amazing. All right. And I do want to say welcome to our chat room. I didn't say that at the launch. Our chat room's over at twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network and our YouTube page. Thank you so much for showing up, guys. You're the best coming out on this Memorial Day weekend, so thank you so much. Okie dokie. Back to the item set. Anyone have anything they want to say about these other item sets? Ark, how about you? I haven't heard from you yet.
I don't get involved in PvP at all, so the idea of getting items with AP is far away from me. So that's why I don't have anything to say. Besides, I don't see any items that I would use in tanking in PvE here, so yeah, I'm indifferent to this topic. But it's good that they are bringing older items back. It will increase the customization options, which I love.
Right. I was actually talking to a guildie earlier, just talking about one of the things we love most about this game is the sheer... There is an item grind to an extent, but there's options for gearing. Like, unless I copy someone's build exactly, there's a very high chance that I'll be a unique build to anyone else, to a certain extent. Like, even between items and abilities and things like that, with all the different item sets, people mixing all over the place. I know there's a couple staples which people kind of hope they get away from, like Julianos and Hundings, but...
I'll tell you my Hundings.
No, I like Hundings as well, but I've actually been moving away from it. I've been using Twiceborn Star more, because a Thief Shadow Mundus Stone is just really good.
I use that as well, and I use Night Mother. Is it Night? No, yeah, Night Mother's Gate. No, what's it called? It's in the same.
Night Mother's Gaze.
Yeah, it's the other set that you craft in the Rift. And
Night Mother's Gaze.
Yeah, so I think I use like 4 pieces of that and 5 Hunding's Rage, and then 2 Rings of Agility.
Okay.
And something else.
Yeah. That's kind of like the main thing right now. What people are using. All right. Dark Brotherhood Deep Dive was another news article that they released for grouping tool improvements. A couple things that they're adding, which is, I think, pretty awesome. Let me preface this. It's awesome for the grouping tool. Some people don't like the grouping tool because of, it takes away the interaction between players, but, it is what it is. They're implementing things into the base game like ready check. If you played any other MMO, ready check is now a thing. Instead of having people type in chat, you can actually do a /ready check, and it will put a prompt on everyone's screen going, "Are you ready?" And you have to hit a key for yes or no. So people.
I like that.
Know.
I think it's useful.
Oh, that's insanely useful. Insanely useful. I'm glad they're finally adding that in. They're also adding a vote to kick option. Okay, which you can now kick people from your group if they're, performing badly, if they're, whatever the case may be. But you may now kick them from the group. Now, it does require a majority vote, so it is what it is. One of the things that I think Zosh should take into account here is this became a problem when they added this in some other games. World of Warcraft had issues. I'm trying to think of some of the other. Final Fantasy XIV has issues with it. And the main thing that is an issue with this is people kicking out someone at the final boss to bring a guildie in or something. They need to add something to this system that if people are all part of a guild, they can't vote to kick. You know what I mean? Like if you have 3 people...
But is that a common thing, really, that you get 11 people, let's say you're doing a trial, you get 11 people in from a guild and 1 non-guildie, and then you deliberately kick that last one on one of the bosses, really? That's a thing? I've literally never seen that happen in my entire life.
That's happened tons. I've seen people do it.
I've been incredibly lucky then.
You have.
Incredibly lucky.
In other games, it happens a lot because you're running or whatever. But say you're doing White Gold Tower or whatever, and your guildie can't get past Inhibitor because they can't do the portals. You bring someone who can. You get past it, you kick them so they can try to get a Mulliganna clear and get.
Oh man, that's such a dick move. If you do that, that is a dick move, and you should be ashamed of yourself. That's terrible. But I suppose the reason I've never seen that happen is because I don't play games with dicks, and I play mostly in nice guilds and a lot in PvP, and the rest is just like you guys. Like you'd never kick me out of a dungeon, would you? Because you're none.
I don't know.
Too many Argonian puns.
Yeah.
But well, fair enough. If it's a real thing, then I'm unaware of it from personal experience. But that sounds like a decent reason to be concerned, I guess.
I mean, even people in the YouTube chat are talking about people abuse the hell out of a vote to kick system. They really do. WoW has a huge issue specifically with new players. Like if you come in and you don't know the fight and you get to a boss that actually requires mechanics, because a lot of the first ones don't, but you get to something where you don't know, they kick you and bring someone else in. They're not willing to teach you. It's just easier to kick you and either re-queue and get someone else or pull in a guildie. It is very... And I know that's one of the things that a lot of people complain about with vote to kick systems and dungeon finders in general. Sometimes it's useful, such as you're in a pug, you're running along, and they just randomly go AFK for whatever reason without even saying something, because I've had people do that.
Happens, yeah.
And you're sitting there for like 20 minutes going, well, we're stuck. We can't go without them. Maybe they're a vital role, a tank or a healer, and they just up and left. I mean, I get real life happens, and I've talked to people, because I have a son, he's not even a year yet. So if I hear him, I'll be like, guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go take care of my kid. But I always give some notice. I've seen people just get up and walk away, and they get pugs, and they're gone for like 20, 30 minutes, and you're like, what the hell, So vote to kick in that case would be helpful, or if you have someone who... And I'm all for teaching people, but sometimes... especially if they're a DPS class or something like that, they don't have the gear, they don't have the setup, and it will never happen. They just can't do it. I think at that point, there's a reason to kick. Now, I'll go aside with talk to the person, and I'll, of course, give them try to help them with the fight if they're doing stuff right, but they're just not pulling numbers. You eventually got to see the writing on the wall. After 50 wipes and they never fail the mechanics, you're just hitting an enrage timer or something like that because they can't do it. It's not so much the fact they're missing mechanics, that's great, but if they're not pulling the numbers that are needed, sometimes you got to take a hard stance and be like, hey, I'm sorry, dude, you did great, but you're not doing enough, and we'll never finish it. Come back when you get better gear or fix your rotation or whatever the case may be. But they are adding vote to kick, so there you go. Another thing that they're doing, which is really cool, and this is pretty standard for anyone who's played MMOs in the past. So when I'm talking about these things, people are probably like, yeah, we get it if you played other MMOs. But I know some people, Avi, for instance, and even Arcaneer, for instance, who've never played other MMOs. This is new to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm blowing my nose.
I know,
Yes.
and I specifically, I was waiting, I was watching, I'm like, I'm going to wait until he's mid-blowing nose to answer a question.
You're a real champion.
I know. There is a 15-minute cooldown for re-queuing and grouping, which is, again, really cool. The reason why they do this is to prevent people who are part of a critical role, such as healer, and tank. These are the two people who you see doing this the most, who will log into a group, start running, and then go, wow, you guys suck, and they leave and re-queue because they get instant queues. So they'll try for a different group. This locks you out for 15 minutes, so that if you go into a dungeon, you have to at least try. Not go into the trash mobs, wipe and go, you guys suck, I'm not even going to deal with this, and leave. That happens too.
Yeah, I do that every once in a while. But it's hard when you get it's hard when you get a random dungeon and you got 2 level 10s.
Right.
You know? And it's like, oh, well, man, these guys don't even have a back bar.
Right.
And then you do the first mob kill, and it takes freaking 2 people die, and it takes 5 minutes to do the first mob kill, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be here for 4 hours.
Oh, and of course, the having people queue as a tank or healer, and then switch their role as soon as the queue pops, so that they're DPS, so they can get in faster.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah,
I get that a lot.
That's annoying, definitely. I don't know. It is what it is, but they're adding that in, and I don't know if the group was that bad where you know you're not going to do it, or you're going to spend like 3 hours in a dungeon, I'd probably take the 15-minute wait timer, but it prevents you from not trying.
Yeah.
Overall, it's pretty good. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I'd love to hear from Avi and Ark who've not played MMOs before.
Well, when it comes to the vote to kick system, I mean, if you were the crown, you're already able to kick somebody from group previously, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah, what if the crown is being a dick?
And that was my other question. Obviously it doesn't say it here, so it's kind of, I don't know, pointless is the word to ask. But can you vote kick whoever's holding crown, or do you have to have crown to vote kick? Anyone can do it.
Anyone can initiate a vote kick, and it requires a majority vote, which would be 3 people or 2 people out of the 3 people in the group to go. Yeah, this guy's got to go.
Well, yeah. it's nice for the whole random groups, you know, but for the most part, you know, just running with friends and doing all this stuff just doesn't really matter. If you vote to kick somebody, you're kind of being a jerk, or so that person has to be doing something pretty dumb to vote kick them, and not just type in chat, hey, you're slowing us down or something.
And that's the point of these dungeon things. They were meant to be, hey, we have an issue and we need to correct it. The problem is there's abuse of these systems.
Right.
Nate, what about you, sir?
Yeah, well, apparently there's more abuse happening in here than I even gave it credit for, because I've had a pretty good experience with all these things so far. And yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to have a much of a different view from that, because like it sounds to me like these are all things that are probably all right, but none of them have affected me ever. So it's difficult.
Right. Well, and I will give credit to the ESO community. We have a much more mature community than most MMOs do. Just as a whole, it's a lot more mature. There are a few dicks in the group from once in a while, but it's not. They are the exception rather than the rule.
Right. Yeah.
It is what it is. Now, again, I've been in other games where there was a set meta. Okay, like you need to finish a dungeon in under 10 minutes or you're gone, kind of deal. And if they're going along and a pool, like if a pool takes longer than the average, like, oh, there's a group of 5 mobs, it should take us 30 seconds. If it takes a minute and a half to kill them, they're like, nah, I'm out, kind of stuff. It is. It is.
It makes me think. One of the reasons I was quiet for a minute there is I was trying to think about how this could apply in PvP grouping, because the grouping system is different between the two.
It is.
And I was trying to think, like, what is a common occurrence in a PvP group where additional grouping tools like this could be useful? And one is where if you're in a large group, particularly if you're in a pug, or if you're just in a loosely organized group, and the crown leaves for whatever reason, and someone gets the crown, but either A, doesn't know they have the crown, or B, they're so new to the concept that they don't know how to give the crown, and if they're not reading the guild chat, it's difficult. And so one of the things that could be quite useful is an ability to vote who has the crown if it has recently changed heads, for want of a better expression. So if newbie A has been given the crown and, within the last 10 minutes, then the rest of the group could sort of vote for another person to have the crown. If, again, enough votes are reached in whatever weird criteria would be needed for this. But that could be quite useful.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm getting a kick out of chat right now. You know how you said you had a normally good experience, Nate, in groups? You don't ever want to group with Asari at this point, because one of the things he goes, playing an Argonian, I erect the spine of bye, vote kick.
Yeah. Well, I don't play an Argonian. I've never played an Argonian in my life, actually. I just love them. They're two different things. I don't want to be one, I don't want to group with one, but I do want to sit with one next to a fire and listen to them. And they're two very, very different things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
It does. It
I like
makes perfect sense.
Argonians from a lore perspective, but if I see an Argonian in my PvP group, I'm going to change factions just to kill them.
Glacier chat, I love that. New PvP mode, Game of Thrones mode. Whoever has the crown in the group is attackable and gains points for however long they survive.
Right.
Oh, God.
I like it. Yeah, that's really fun. I feel it, and this doesn't attain to ESO, because ESO doesn't have classical dwarves in normal Western fantasy, but I feel the same way with dwarves in other games. I don't necessarily like to play them, but I like to know they're around, and that they have their big beards, and they like to drink, and I just like to be around them.
Right.
I'm the
Do you know
same way.
do you know that with the good dwarf, there was a very fun dwarf in Dragon Age 2. I forgot his name now. Garrick? Garrick. Someone in chat will answer this for me. I played that game like 10 times.
Derek?
Yeah, that might have been it, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
an Inquisition also.
He was, yeah, he was in the 2. He was good. He was useful. He was powerful.
Gotta love those dwarves.
He had a big old crossbow named Bianca.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one.
He's a champ.
He's
He's
all
good.
over that. Nice.
I still favor the drunk dwarf in Dragon Age Origins overall. I
Yeah,
can't
he's
remember his name, but
Ogrum, I think.
I don't know. I can't remember
Yeah.
the name. But
good
the drunk one.
I
That was an awesome character.
I can't say it on this show because it's family friendly, but the dwarves from The Witcher are fantastic. Especially, there was a scene in the bar with, what's his name, Skuldavar and a few others in a tavern in Witcher 2. I'm trying to think of a way I can say this that clears it up, or that cleans it up. I can't say it without, but it's hilarious. I'm like, how can I clean this up to make it family friendly? And there's no way I can actually clean it up to make it family friendly. But the same dwarf later on actually says, during one of the scenes with a sorceress and the dragon slayer Saskia, she's in a coma, and to wake her up, she puts a rose on her lips, and the other girl leans down and kisses the other girl, and the one dwarf knocks up against your character, goes, "That's my favorite type of magic, lesbomancy," and it cracked me up.
Wow.
I love those dwarves.
Sounds like something The Witcher would put in their game right
It
there.
would. Witcher is a more mature
Yeah.
game, but I love that line. I about fell off my chair when I heard that. You see, too hot women. Anyway, sorry. Our Dark Brotherhood deep dive, updates to the Crown Store, and ESO Plus. All right. So this is a little bit of a change to the Crown Store coming with Dark Brotherhood. Couple things that they're adding in is a new, which is neat. They're finally, it's a step in the right direction. They're updating their vanity system, their costume system, to be a little more robust. They have a good way to go. I don't think this is enough, but we'll get to that. They are now adding hats as an option that you can now wear with other costumes. You know, there were a couple hats in the game already. The tin hat from Cadwell's Gold, and the Vosh something mask you get from Rothgar. They only took over your head slot as an appearance item, but they took up the entire costume slot. So you'd have your armor, but you'd have the mask on. You couldn't do anything else. Hats are now have their own separate area, which now overrides any costume. So like you can have a costume on, and then you put the hat on top, and you still retain your costume plus the hat.
So wait, will it go over the helmet? Like if I have a helmet in the costume, will
Yes.
the hat will go over the helmet, right?
No, you're not.
No.
You're not going to have 12 hats where you have like a spiked helmet and then a hat on top of the helmet. No, the hat slot supersedes the costume head slot. So if you put something,
And then on top of that, you can also put a skin on too, right? So you can have a skin with a costume and a special hat.
Did they talk about the skin being separate now? Like, I don't know if that was separate or if the skin just takes over your costume slot. I didn't read that.
I'm pretty sure they're separate. If not, they should be.
I don't think they are. I think they count as the costume slot if you have a skin on.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it would have been great. We could have made fishing nights a lot more weirder like that.
I know, right?
Yeah. Now we are limited to being naked.
That's not a problem. The other thing, which is really exciting, is if you're an ESO Plus subscriber, you get the crafting bags in-game, which are nearly unlimited. I like how they say nearly unlimited, because you can't really say unlimited, because there is a cap, but it's like 42 million items or something like that.
44 billion.
44 billion items.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. I really am, because one of the biggest problems I find is not... It's people joke about it, you know. People laugh at the game and call it, you know, Elder Inventory Management Online and all this sort of thing. That inventory management is a sub game in itself, and it's difficult to argue when you've been questing for a while or you've been in PvP for a while. You've got rewards for the worthy, and all of a sudden it's like I've got too much bone and garnet but I don't want to get rid of them because I like to keep a general stock of things in case crafters in my guilds need things making, what have you. It's like, this isn't fun. This is a giant waste of time. So for that reason alone, I'm happy to just never have to think about that again. Let alone the benefit that comes from just having a larger stock of these items. It's just nice to think, I don't have to think about this anymore.
Right. I mean,
and realistically, and if I can just make one last point, this is the thing that really bugs me about not just Elder Scrolls, but basically all games ever, is why does a rose take up as much space as a sword?
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen. I know you can carry 200 roses for the same space as a sword, but carrying one rose still counts as the same amount of space as a sword. So, I like that this is going away. It brings it back to reality a little bit, even if it does mean I have a bank populated with roses and weapons, which makes me look like a psychopath.
And when you talk about reality, the slot system is kind of... Ultima Online was the last game that I played that was a multiplayer that had weight. Like, there were no slots in your bag. You could just throw anything in your bag, but you had weight. Everything weighed in whatever their default stones. Make it a pound, whatever. Or kilogram, whatever. And you could carry like 200 stones. Everything was assigned a value. A crafting reagent, like a plant, was like 0.01. Okay, so it didn't weigh anything. You could have hundreds of thousands of them because they didn't weigh anything. A sword was 10 stone, so you adjusted like that. As for bank slots, like this inventory bag, I like. Some people are like, why would you carry 200 ingots? You know how much that weighs? Well, yeah, but in theory, these things are like in my bank. And what bank would not take... What bank do you know that would not make space for your valuables?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're putting something in a bank, okay, a bank's not going to go, I'm sorry, you have too much money with us. You please take some away.
Yeah. Well, it's because money isn't a thing, is it? It's just numbers.
Money's well, even so, like a safety deposit box here in the States. Yeah, I mean, you can put anything you can fit in it. But you're not limited. You're paying a fee for it. You're not limited going, oh, you can only have one thing in there. You can fit as much as you can in there, and if you need more, you just rent more space, whatever. But no one's going to limit you going, no, you can't have that here. A bank, if you're paying them through a fee or whatever to hold your valuables, no one's going to be like, sorry, you only have enough room for this. I don't know. It is what it is.
Good development. So hats, realistic bank space. What was the other thing they brought in with this? Oh, character slots. That's right.
Yeah, character slots are now you can go up to 12. Avi, I expect you to have more max level characters soon.
Oh, you know it. On a side note, though, real fast, I just jumped on the PTS, and you can wear a skin under a costume. Nice. So I'm wearing a costume, a skin, and a hat right now.
Okay, I actually did not. Is that on live too? I'm actually kind of curious. I feel like the costume or the skin took over. Okay, so now you can wear all three because that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Now all they really need to do is adopt the per item costume slots so that I can put a vanity slot over my shoulders to wear a specific shoulder that I want to wear. Or whatever. That would be my ideal vanity system. Lock it behind crowns. Make me buy each slot for like 1,000 crowns. I'd do it. It's like 7,000 crowns, but I'd still buy it to unlock all the armor slots. You know, where you have a second armor slot. Like you have your main slot, which is where you put your items that actually have your stats. Then you have a second one, which is a vanity, where it overwrites the look, but you get none of the stats. That way I could wear my best in slot, but then I could put other armor on the outside that I could dye or whatever to make me look the way I want while still wearing my ugly best in slot gear. That's what I would love. Because don't you hate when you get, like, one of the things that I hated, which I think, Avi, you mentioned it earlier, you were looking for the Bogdan Night Flame set because it was better for your healing, but you would rather have Engine Guardian because you like the way it looks.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
almost all of the shoulder pieces looks bad, like the monster pieces.
Almost all of them. Yeah,
they're just at one side, and it bugs me. I need the shoulder pieces to be on both sides.
I actually like the one side.
It really annoys me.
But yeah, if they were to add, you know, what are special or additional character slot prices? People are asking in chat. It's 1,500. Very reasonable for that. 1,500 for an extra slot. Yeah, for each, and you can buy up to 4 more, so you can have 12 characters. So, I think that's reasonable.
Not bad. I still think it would have been an interesting idea to let ESO Plus subscribers have 12. Like that's an easy value-added thing to get people to subscribe to.
And let me. Here's the problem with that. What do you do if you drop your sub? Do you just lock those 4 characters?
No, you do what they're doing with the rest, which is that you can still access the ones you've already got, but you can't add to them again. So it might be that ESO Plus get 1 extra every month for free, up to a maximum of 12, so they'd be subbed for 4 months. Or if you subscribe for 3 months in one go, you get all 4 in one go. But it's like the bag space and a few other things they've brought in with the ESO Plus model, which is you get the access to them instantly, and you can fill your bags. And if you drop your sub, it doesn't remove the 42 billion quartz items you have in your bank account, or all of your Bosma bone and whatever else you've got. It just doesn't let you add any more to them until you reduce it.
Right, and I know people are saying that about the crafting bags, and people throwing their salt around about crafting bags being a subscriber reward. Honestly, that's why they're adding this, to encourage you to sub. Because that's what they want you to do. They don't... People whine about random crap. But, again, here's the thing. Hey, you want your crafting bags? This is what you do. You sub for a month, you load all your crafting in there, and then unsub. And while you can't add to it, you can still use it, so then you just go back to your bank slot, and then when you can resub again, use your crafting bags. But the whole idea of the crafting bags is to serve as a perk to go, hey, I get more benefits by subbing. And this game does so much better than every other buy-to-play or free-to-play game with the sub option. Most time you sub, you get a minute, like I think Lotro or whatever. If you sub, there's a few rewards, but you get like only 500 of their their currency, which is not even what you would get in a small pack, so it's not even enough to do much. At least with subbing, you get as many crowns as you would if you just bought it outright. Plus, you get the 10% to all the experience, the gold, the crafting inspiration, all that other stuff, which is amazing, right? And now you also have another perk, which is an unlimited crafting bag. This is a perk to get you to sub. It is what it is. And subbing is something that I know people are like, oh, sub's an old. No, sub is actually the best model out there. I don't care what you think about it because you're wrong. Because subbing actually provides the company metrics to go, hey, this is how much we're getting, because you can see everyone getting charged, and you can actually, everyone who's already resubbed, they can look at that and go, okay, we have all these people who are set on a recurring subscription. Next month, this is our proposed budget or our proposed profits, because this is, unless someone drops their sub before whatever, but that's a flex in there. But you could realistically look at it and go, I have 10 subscribers. I mean, we do that with our Patreon right now. Like, we look at our subscribers, they give us, if everyone stays sub, this is how much you're making, right? So we can look at that and go, hey, that's what our budget is. With Crown Store stuff, you could have a rocket month and people buy lots of stuff, great, but you can't be like, oh, I'm going to release the Senche mount, the one we're going to talk about later, and everyone's going to buy one. So here we go. Every person's going to buy 4,000 crowns and get this mount. You can't make that assumption. But with subscription, you can make the assumption going, barring anyone leaving, this is what our next month's profits are.
Yeah. Subbing is better for the game overall. I mean, you made a great point a few weeks ago, I think.
Sorry in chat. I have to say this is funny. 10 subscribers, because I was using the example. He's like, what is this example? WildStar? That hurts.
Ouch.
Poor WildStar.
You were saying a while ago it's worth working out how many crowns you want to buy and then just subbing for that amount of time and getting those crowns as part of your subscription. Absolutely. Because subbing helps the game from a business perspective. It helps predict growth and declining growth and all this kind of stuff. It's a little bit more sustainable, as we've talked about extensively on the show before. So I do kind of like the idea of a lot of these things being tied to subscriptions rather than being one-off purchases for that reason. It still means you're paying to get access to them. It's just that you're paying in a way that is better for the game, which is better for the players.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing. When you're looking at the month or whatever the case may be in your projected profits, you can look at that and going, well, based on this, because let's face it, sub numbers normally don't take huge drops. I mean, in bigger games they're more noticeable, but normally sub numbers fluctuate only small amounts, right?
Well, with a side note, I'd love to know what the fluctuation was when the Crown Store was first brought in, because if you took Reddit's opinion as an accurate estimation of what the effect on subscriber base would be, it plummeted about 98%.
Right.
Which I don't imagine was true, but Reddit was very angry at the Crown Store, as were you, as were all of us. But we all carried on our subbing, but a lot of people were, throwing their toys and babies out the pram over that.
Right. No, and I do agree with that. It is something that it's something that anyway, Crown Store notwithstanding. And here's actually something that I'll talk about a little later. But in with subbing, like you said, better for the game. It is better for the game and allows them to do more stuff with the game, because there's normally only a little bit of flux, other than those big events. Like when the Crown Store first came out, yeah, there might have been a drop in subs because people were angry, right? But generally, once it settles out, the numbers kind of stay the same. But they can look at their profits and go, based on the last 3 months, we've had a solid number, and this is our net gain. Why don't we hire another environmental artist? We can afford it based on our subscription numbers, and have them help crank out another zone, right? Like, because that when you're fluxing, you're like, well, if you have a good month, do we hire someone, but then next month we get nothing because then we can't pay them, we have to let them go? But at least with a subscription, you can arguably say if everyone here is still subscribed, they're going to be with the game for the next 6 months. We can make this accurate prediction, and basing on what our current growth is, we're expecting a 3% increase or a 3% decline. These are our net profits. we have enough money to hire a new world builder. We have enough money to hire new environmental artists. We can get someone else.
You know what though? They I imagine that Crown Store purchases are pretty predictable. I reckon the numbers month to month are pretty sustained.
I still think Crown Store is flux. Like it is
Flux,
what it is.
depending on the day you look at, but I reckon if you look at it month to month, it would not surprise me if there was a general pattern that was at play with the Crown Store. Probably based on the number of people in game, but still probably fairly predictable. Like they know when to release new items onto the Crown Store. Like they're going to be basing this on, when it gets to a certain low point, that's when they announce new things, and that's when they put stuff on. I reckon it's quite predictable. I'd love to know the numbers.
You know what I would actually like to know, and this is something that's pretty neat. We're going to talk about Crown Store in a little bit, but what do you guys think of this as an idea for promoting subscription? Just like the ESO crown or the crafting bags, mounts and pets, and you can take it because we get mounts and stuff. Let's take out the limited edition stuff, okay? The stuff that's off the Crown Store. How do you guys feel about having anything that was on the Crown Store? If you're a subscriber, you can use without purchasing it, just like you do the DLC. But if you unsub, you lose the mount and stuff, so you didn't have to buy it if you were a subscriber.
Then what do I would do with the crowns?
You could buy consumables.
I see. I mean, that would be lovely, but...
You mean like costumes and stuff?
Yeah,
you don't mean like crown experience potions?
No. Just the costumes and stuff. The vanity items.
Vanity only. It'd be a neat perk, but I mean, you're getting given crowns every month as part of a subscription, so you could sort of argue you kind of get that already.
Well, you sort of do, but a lot of the mounts are more expensive. They have a lot of costumes. Like, with the ESO Plus subscription, $1,500 a month, just looking at the amount of stuff they release to the Crown Store every month, they were normally release like 3 or 4 items. That's not enough to get everything. You'd have to... I don't know. I don't think it would make it that much of a difference. What I do think longer term could be quite beneficial is, they're doing the whole Disney thing of having artificially time-limited availability of stuff, deliberately taking stuff off in order to promote the fact that it's there to generate sales. And that really annoys me. But what you could do is you could say, if you're an ESO Plus member, don't worry about items expiring or leaving the store soon. Just make the entire back catalog available to ESO Plus subscribers. It sort of smacks a little bit in the face of the idea that if you're not a sub, you are giving them money via the Crown Store, thus giving them fewer things to spend their money on is ridiculous in the first place. But if they're going to do it, at least benefit the ESO Plus subscribers by not taking it away from their ability to pay for it as well with their sub provided crown, sorry. I actually really like that idea. You should put that on the forums.
Oh, they listen to the show. They you can hear it, guys. You know this is a good idea.
No, I actually really like that idea, even more than, like you said, making it, because then the subscribers, we're constantly accruing crowns. But
right. Exactly. I've got 12,000 crowns that I haven't spent.
Yeah, but
it's sitting there at the moment. But there's probably a couple of mounts that I quite like to get based on. If I've got 12 character slots now, I generally like my mounts to fit either the race or the, if I've kind of rolled a character around lore and something, then I like them to have a personal lore relevant mount or pet or clothing outfit. And, in time, there'll be a lot of items of clothing that are not going to be available to me now. And, it'd be a shame not to be able to buy a wedding dress in the future. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. And that would, like you said, it would allow us to continue to sub without having to pay extra for these special one-time, like these quick get-em-now stuff. Especially with, like, the SencheGate mount that's 4K, which we'll talk about in a minute. We're getting there. We have a few more news articles. I don't want to get too much into it because we got a lot to talk about that. But it would allow us to go, I don't have to sit there and go, oh, I sub in a 6-month type thing. I spent my 6 months on crowns already doing something else, but now I have to buy extra crowns in order to get this mount because it's only here for 5 days.
Right.
If it was a subscriber perk that it was anything that was in the store, like the entire backlog, if you're a sub, you could see their entire catalog, would be amazing, because then I could look at it and go, that's okay. I don't have 4K now, but in 5 months when my thing resubs, I'll buy it then.
Right. Yeah. And you could add in something like, you get 10% bonus to a bunch of stuff when you're an ESO plus one, that make Crown Store items 10% less to buy if you're a subscriber.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of these little things that I think just add an ongoing incentive to being a subscriber, rather than just instant access to new DLC like Dark Brotherhood next week, or getting your delivery of crowns every month or 6 months or whatever.
I think that's something that I'm going to put in our notes for the next thing. Later on, I want everyone in the show to think about it. But things that we think would encourage better subs. So keep thinking that. I'm going to write that down real quick.
Okay.
Right.
Because this is a good topic, but there's a lot of stuff that we should probably in the next month or so think about, and we'll bring it back to the table and talk about it in a discussion about what we think would benefit ESO sub or ESO plus subscription. What would make it better?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that in the notes right now for a later show. So think about that, guys. Let's go ahead and move on, because we're getting into our discussion topic before we're ready, and we still have two more news topics to talk about. Eric Wrobal head to the forums to talk about Sorcerer changes. There were a couple things that he addressed from the forums, because there was
There's like a dozen, man. He addressed like a dozen different things in here.
Right. It's true. But I kind of want to talk about these, because I know a lot of people have been playing Sorcs, and when Dark Brotherhood came out, I've heard nothing but salt from these people because of the changes to Sorcs. And I mean, hey, I understand if someone nerfed the class that I like playing. I've never felt that, because I've always been a Templar, and Templars have always been nerfed. So, I'm just kidding. They actually are pretty good, so I'm not gonna complain. It's just been since the launch of the game, Templar has normally never been on top. They've always been kind of the lower end of things, unless you're a healer, of course. But I don't play healers. All right, so let's go ahead and let's address some of these things. Let's go through these questions. And Nate, would you mind hopping on that and just start reading through those questions, and we'll talk about them?
Yeah, I'll read. Absolutely. So, do you want me to read just the questions or the answers as well?
Question and answer, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, fine. Well, I'll start from the top then. I mean, what Eric had written was that there's been a large amount of feedback and questions from the Sorcerer section of the PTS forums, and he went in to answer them in depth. So the first one, this was asked by Flaminir. Sorcerers are the only class that don't have a spammable class-based DPS skill. Why did you change Trapping Webs, the only spammable activity we had access to, which isn't tied to a Destro staff, to only Stamina? So we now have no choice but to run a Destro staff in all aspects of the game. And he points out this is mostly a PvP aspect question. Eric answered, Trapping Webs was never meant to be a spammable ability, such as Lava Whip, Force Shock, Strife, etc. It costs more and is lower damage. The focus for Undaunted abilities is having powerful synergies, so we redesigned it to feel as less spammy as possible. He notes that each synergy has a 20-second cooldown, so you can't spam it. We understand that Sorcs would like more freedom when choosing what weapons to use. As a stamina character, even without a class-damaging ability, you have a diverse set of options between bow, one-handed shield, two-handed, dual wield. Magicka technically has 4 options as well: Restro Staff and 3 flavors of Destruction Staff. Although I have to say, my own personal side note, I've never really seen the advantage in the different ones in PvP. They all just seem to be kind of equal. However, Restoration Staff doesn't support offensive abilities, and there's not enough diversity between the 3 types of Destruction Staff. Oh, hang on. That is just what I said, isn't it? Okay, yeah. Fine. Sorry, I hadn't read it ahead. We don't have any immediate plans to change this, but we would like to give Sorcs more compelling decisions when selecting a weapon. I don't play Sorc and never have, so I have no opinion on this.
I'm kind of with you, man. I don't know what to say about Sorcerers. I'm sorry. Go play a Templar. I mean,
go play. Yeah, I
Do you play a Sorc? I'm sure you played a Sorc.
I have a Sorc. See, in terms of spammable abilities,
It's lazy.
well, I can't say much about that because everyone has spammable abilities. I mean, Lava Whip, Force Shock, except there's weapon abilities. The thing that I love most about Sorcs was the ability to proc crystal shards, which is a proc ability with 0 cost, right?
Yeah, it's very useful as well.
Insanely useful. That creates a fun gameplay while you're doing your spammable, whether it be Force Shock or if you're stamina, Wrecking Blow, or what. There are spammable skills you can use. If you're dual wield, freaking hell, the new Flurry is amazing. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and they're specifically talking about trapping webs here. They need to add more. The person who's complaining about this, they change it only to stamina. Stamina has so few choices in abilities compared to Magicka. Yeah. It just
and we're not very powerful anymore, and I say that as a stam at heart.
Yeah, it's true, and he came to it. Trapping web's never meant to be spammable. It's a ground target. It's supposed to be like a dot or a CC ability. That's what it was meant to be. Like, it's not a spammable ability. So if someone's using it as a spammable, I don't know. It is what it is. Like they said, non-spammable ability, which isn't tied to Destro staff. Why would you want to give up Force Shock? Like, this is the thing that I'm kind of confused about. There are other spammable abilities all over the place. Why would you give it? Yeah. But everyone has weapon abilities that are spammable, whether it's Wrecking Blow, Flurry, that don't necessarily are class abilities. Then there's a few that are class, like Lava Whip or Poison Whip or whatever it is for stamina, or Biting Jabs or Puncturing Sweep for Templars. There are spammable options. Would I rather have different gameplay or use something other than Biting Jabs? Honestly, I would. I don't like the animation. It's kind of annoying. I would much rather use something else. But the thing is, that's my spammable as a Templar. I'm used to it. You find your spammable and you augment it with other things.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Well, this is going to take forever if we go through all of these, frankly, because it's like 15, 16 of them. I'm going to skip the one about shields. Safe to say, someone moaned that shields took it hard, and Eric said it's fine. There's enough options. Let's move on. So another one that came in here.
Can I say one other thing about shields that I think is actually a good change? The fact that now everyone gets shields. Shields are great, but they should be defensive. They shouldn't last for 1,000,000 years like they did already. Like that you couldn't kill them. 6 seconds is fantastic because that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to see, oh crap, I see someone charging me. Shield. You know? Not, I'm going to put this up before a fight starts and I'm good for 30 seconds. No, that's stupid.
But that...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go. Yeah, that destroyed my plans for Sorcerer tank, though. I just leveled the character for it, and the shields got nerfed.
I understand, but it doesn't... That kind of stuff doesn't create compelling gameplay. It makes for boring combat. This makes it reactionary and more quick, like, oh crap, big attack coming. Right before it goes off, shield. Not... I'll put my shield up and I'm good for 30 seconds. I'll just refresh it in 30 seconds.
And especially for PvP, it's a good change. But for PvE tanking, I don't think it will work now. The Sorcerer tank.
There's other things you need. But the other thing that I really like that they changed is now there's a shield, even if you're not a Sorc. And they changed how dampen magic works in the cloth line, the cloth armor, light armor. Before it only absorbed spells, now it absorbs all damage. It's a 6-second damage shield that anyone can use, regardless if you're not a Sorc. And I think that's awesome. Alright.
Wait, can I use that as a DK?
Yes.
No way.
Now, again, if you're not wearing much light armor, there's benefits because it is a light armor ability, but just like Shuffle, you know, like that people are using now in heavy armor to get rid of using Hissbark. Like Armor Master is like amazing right now, And a lot of people are using Shuffle so they can get away without using 5 Hiss Bark. So you use 5 Armor Master, put Shuffle in your bar, you still get your 20% miss chance. And you can use it wearing mostly heavy armor, it just doesn't have as long of a duration. Who cares? Same thing with
experiment
this.
with that, I think. I need to experiment with that.
I have it on my bar on Dark Brotherhood for PvP because it's a 6-second. It uses Magicka. I'm not using Magicka as a stamina in Dark Brotherhood, so who cares?
As well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I need to experiment with that. You may need to remind me to test that because I will forget. Let's move on to the next question then. Flaminir, frequent question asker apparently. Why did we receive so many defensive nerfs without a single usable buff to our defense or sustainability, shields and surge? Eric answers, we base this decision on extensive playtesting, player feedback and data, interesting, from Maelstrom Arena leaderboards. It was our intent to make sorcerers feel increased investment in maintaining their current levels of survivability. We specifically didn't nerf the values on damage shields because we want to maintain their powerful feel. When the shields are up, enemies aren't going to take you down.
Right. I know, well, and again, people are complaining about shields. Sorcs, the main issue is Sorcs don't have survivability outside of their shields. I have to call BS on that because my Templar doesn't have the same survivability. If I'm not Magicka, like if I'm stamina, what do I have for defensive? Like, if I'm not using secondary abilities, like Templar healing, I have no healing as a stamina Templar. Unless I count Rally or Vigor, which anyone can get.
Yeah, Vigor is very useful though, and it charges your
Ultimate, yeah.
Ultimate, which is the best reason to use it, frankly.
Right, and that's just it. I mean, those things right there, there are other options. In terms of a Templar, like my Templar, I use maybe 1 or 2 Templar abilities as a stamina. Everything else is from other lines. There are other options that you can build. If you need healing, go to Resto Staff. If you're Magicka, do Resto Destro or whatever the case may be. Create your survivability. There's options that you need. You don't have to be able to do everything, right? Like, if you could do everything, why would you need other players? In my full DPS line, like, I know people who are like, well, I don't want to use Resto. I'm using dual-wield swords and Destro Staff. Okay, well, then you're pure damage. Your build is reliant on other people to keep you alive, as it should be in an MMO. If you're going for an all-around hybrid build, you're not going to be as good. Run or a Resto Staff. There are options out there, and I feel, and especially in PvP, watching Sorc shield up for, like, 8 years and not being able to ever touch them. You have 12 people on one guy and they can't get his health down low enough. What the hell is up with that?
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Usually Emperors in PvP.
Right.
I'm not naming.
Well, Emperors are one thing. I've seen even non-Emperors last 5-6 people in one Sorc and they can't get their health down enough because the shields are up, they're streaking everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's usually Emperors I've seen. I have a person in mind on the EU server who I'm not going to name, but he is a good player. But I will enjoy continually killing you. Who does that? Who's an Emperor on time to time, and he's a Sorc. And man, I've had like 12 people wailing on him, ultimates, meteors, everything, and the guy just doesn't die.
Right. Let's ask one more question from this group. It's the one from
Herpes at the battlefield.
Millian about Surge. Let's hit that, and then we'll call this at a no. But then remember, guys, you can read all these questions. They're going to be in the show notes because we're running short on time, so we need to get rolling. So this last question.
So is this the one the Miniland says about looking at Cyrodiil?
Design and function inside Cyrodiil. Yep.
Yeah. Surge. Please take a look at the design and functionality inside Cyrodiil. Players do not stand still inside damage over time AoE attacks like Liquid Lightning. A 900-point heal is not helpful, even if it manages to crit. Under the old system, we could at least get a decent heal from a lucky crit if the opponent wasn't shielded. And, pardon me, Eric answers, Surge now feels like a sustain ability instead of a spike heal ability. This design makes more sense for the ability because the procs are random. Big burst heals are something you want to be able to use with reliability when you need them. Getting a big surge heal when you are at full health and getting no heal when you are low on health can lead to frustrating situations. Hear that. Surge has stronger synergy with damage shields now. The shields help stop big bursts of damage, and Surge helps to top off your health bar and keep you sustained through long battles. The healing values on Surge will be balanced against other popular sustain abilities such as Strife and Puncturing Strikes. Now all that makes a lot of sense to me.
Right. No,
From my experience being helped by a Sorc as opposed to being a Sorc.
Right. And I know a lot of people are saying, I know Sar's like, my comment on you're relying on other people would be a nice sentiment if it didn't only apply to one class. I do agree. If other classes can do a hybrid role better, there needs to be looked at for balance. But with that being said, Sorcs have been so OP for a while, and even other Sorcs will be like, yeah, you know, like shields were just way too powerful. I think they do need to maybe even look at changing entire abilities to make Source a little bit more sustainable. But the current stance of Sorcs, it's just, you know, looking at people surviving Vet Mouse from Arena using just shields and stuff, you can see how OP they were. All right.
There is one I'd quite like to read out on this, just because it's relevant to the Dark Brotherhood,
Sure.
Which comes from Minalan, lower down in this list. Poisons. These seemed designed to affect Magicka users in an unbalanced way, when stamina builds have already been made so much stronger already. Please look into balancing weapon enchants against this, or add a poison antidote potion effect that grants a short immunity to poisons. Please, we don't want to get farmed all day, but that's almost inevitable in this patch. Eric answers, enchantments and poisons both proc in the same manner. They require weapon attacks. Enchantments proc at 100% chance every 4 seconds, while poisons proc at 20% chance every 10 seconds. The key balance distinction between enchantments and poisons is that you're getting an instant effect from enchantments and an over time one from poisons. Total DPS increase from poisons or enchantments should be around 5%, so you aren't going to get farmed if you don't use poison. That said, we will certainly be monitoring feedback on poisons once Dark Brotherhood goes live and make balance adjustments or counters if they overperform. So the reason I thought that was important is because even if you're not a Sorc, and even if you don't plan on using poisons, it's something to be aware of, that if you are particularly susceptible to poison damage or anything that could be, you know, if you find yourself constantly running up against poison damage, it looks like there's some controversy over how much more squishy you will be in this patch versus previous patches.
Right. Okay. Good deal. We're going to talk about our final news topic, which this is a community-brought thing, and I sent a message to Deltia, but he didn't respond back, so asking him whether or not I could use this on here. But he didn't respond back. I'll talk to him later, and if he doesn't like it, I'll remove it from the video, but I don't know why he wouldn't. I'm going to show a video that he did that he's calling for people in the community to go talk on the forums anyway, so I don't think he would have a problem with me showing it here, because it just gets more people to see it. It's a plea for ZOS not to remove an NPC from the game that was stealth removed. It was a big thing on Reddit. It's on the forums. It was an unkillable NPC that people were using to test DPS. And while I understand ZOS would remove it because it might have been a bug, why they shouldn't remove it until they have DPS dummies in place. Now let me play this real quick. So I'm going to play a video here real fast in the center box. So take a look at this.
Have you ever been frustrated with your DPS and rotation in Elder Scrolls Online? I know I have. Currently I'm working on improving my DPS so I can join in Vet Maw Lorcash, and found out ESO has something more precious than gold. A training dummy. Yes, an unkillable NPC that you can beat on forever if you want, allowing us as a community to master DPS, parse properly, improve our builds and self-esteem, and we can do it solo. But there's bad news. It's been removed from the Dark Brotherhood patch, and I need everyone's help. We need to sound the alarm on ZOS and implement this back into the game or an alternative to test our DPS solo, like every other MMO on the planet. So how do we do this? Well, I've created a post on ESO's official forums called Save Ninglenel, whatever the NPC's name is, DPS petition. I need everyone to go there who has a forum account and post a comment, even /sign, something simple, that this needs to be implemented back into the game or some alternative for us to test our DPS. 2, I need you to share this with your friends so we can band together as a community and let us know when a feature removes that affects our fun, it's unacceptable. I don't know why it's been removed, though I've heard rumors it was due to breaking immersion. While I respect other people enjoying their quest in game, it shouldn't come at the expense of my fun and my game either. If we want to compromise, I say bring it back into the game for Dark Brotherhood and develop an alternative, either via crowns or something else, then remove it. For such a small portion of the map, the world of Tamriel, I find it absolutely asinine to remove something this useful and not tell us about it. Maybe they did, but I haven't seen it. Usually I don't get this fired up about it, but come on, we need more tools to improve our builds, not less. Thanks for watching. Please, ESO community, you're my only hope.
Alright, so, again, for the video it was talked, Deltia made a good point. There was an NPC that was unkillable in the game, and people have been using it as a DPS meter that you could do solo while you're working on builds, rather than having to get people to go in and farm, like, to the boss in Wayrest, or running and doing the dungeon boss in... Why am I drawing a blank here? Help me out. What dungeon is it? The Gargoyle. I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of what the name of the dungeon is, though.
Right. But this NPC, the way that it worked, because he was unkillable, you could test your build, rotations on him, whatever you wanted, and then make changes and go right back in a matter of minutes by yourself, rather than having to go out, reset the dungeon, come back in, fight the mobs, go back to where the boss is, try again just for one attempt, right? Like, there were things you could do with this mob that was different. I understand it being a bug, but as Deltia said in here, it was a way for us to test our DPS, test our builds, see how it works in a live environment by yourself without having to run into doing dungeons or whatever to try to get these DPS tested. And without them having, and I know they already talked about adding training dummies into the game, they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, they're saying that's going to come with housing, most likely. So that's pretty much saying we're going to take away your only training dummy for the next quarter of the year.
At least.
Which is stupid. It's ridiculous. There's no reason to do that. If people want something as simple as a training dummy, it's like we'll just give it to them. Leave this bugged NPC in. He's not hurting anybody. Yeah. People's immersions getting hurt. Well, you know what? Too bad.
I mean, even training dummies, they're not immersion. People, medieval people practice on dummies to hone their skills. That's what they do.
You see them doing it in the game all the time.
Right.
You go to anywhere like where the fighters guilds are, and they're always somebody around the back beating on, a sack of potatoes with a fake head on top as a training dummy. Like, that's been there for ages. I mean, there are a few characters in the game that you can still wail on that are basically unkillable. One of them is in Cyrodiil, the big gargoyle guarding the bridge into the Imperial City. That's a good place if you're in that area. It's sort of nearby some of the central... well, I mean, you know where the Imperial City is. I don't need to explain this. But there's a bunch of them guarding the bridges, and they're good to charge your ultimate on before going up to a fort, maybe if you're taking it down. But you can wail on them for pretty much as long as you want. The only problem is that unlike the dummy, I think they will fight back. Mm-hmm. They won't do much to you, but they will fight back.
Right.
I guess this guy doesn't. He just stands there and gets pummeled.
And I think if he does, he doesn't hit for much. So it's like
he just punches with his fist. So
yeah.
I mean, you
that's
barely get hit, and it's in Rivenspire or something like that.
Right.
So if you're DC, that's only like level 40. So yeah.
But you have to unlock him by going to a different zone. I actually just, because it's funny, in my tales I'll talk about it, I'm in Grotwood, I found him there, right? But once you save him, he moves back from Grotwood because he was an adventurer, and he goes back to Rivenspire, where he was.
Oh
from.
man, they should just make Stibbons the unkillable NPC.
Why?
That would be so.
Just
Poor
with us
Stibbons.
beat on Stibbons.
That would be
Everyone else
amazing.
does. Why not? But anyway, I wanted to shout this out because this was a big thing on Reddit. Delty has a nice video out on it. There's a forum. I'm going to put his forum link in the description so you can go and leave a comment on it. And like I said, I tried to ask his permission to use it, but he didn't message me back yet. But I highly doubt he'll care. But if he does, I'll remove it from the video.
He messaged me personally in game and asked if I could go upvote it and spread the word. So
All right, well then I'm using it on the show then. I'm using that as an okay. I honestly don't think it would be a big deal. I mean, Delty has been on the show.
No.
Well, he was on the show for many episodes as a permanent guest for a while. So, but anyway, I just don't like using other people's content for anything because that's not cool. But this is something else because he wants people to see it. So there you go, guys. And it is something that is needed in the game just for damage alone because if you don't know how the abilities work, and now that Zos is also added in damage, you can now go see, oh, I can put my damage numbers on. Let's see, this ability looks really great. Let's, hey, it's awesome. But when you go, it goes, oh, it looks cool, but it only does 200 damage. This one over here does 800. Huh. There's a disparity here, like, there's reasons to have these kinds of things, right?
definitely.
All right. So I'll put that in the description so people will be able to see it and go upvote it, do whatever you got to do because still that's pretty cool, because they don't have training dummies in the game yet, and it's something they probably should. Oh, and Karthoslive in Twitch gave me its spindle clutch. Thank you, sir, for that because I couldn't remember. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. It's time to move on to our discussion topic, which is the big elephant in the room, or should I say the Khajiit, the Senche. Let me preface this by saying the reason why we're talking about this is because it was a big thing in the community this week. Not because anyone here on Tales, one way or the other, completely hates the idea, goes against it. We're not really supporting one side or the other. We just kind of want to talk about it in a general way because it was big in the community this week. I know our personal opinions vary. Mine is I really don't care. I see both the pros and cons of this. So let's just take that. We're going to talk about from purely because this was part of the community this week. Okay. I've been affectionately calling this SencheGate because everyone just likes to add gates to everything because that seems to be the thing. Not quite as cool as the Overwatch butt gate for Tracer, but anyway, we won't talk about that. All right, so this week they released the Doathra Sench mount on the Crown Store. Limited 5 days, and it is causing a little bit of controversy from everybody. There's people both for it, there's people out against it. It's all over the place right now about what exactly is going on. But they released this mount, and it was 4,000 crowns. This has been the most expensive thing they've added to the Crown Store mount-wise. With the second one being the Frost Horse that was 3,000 crowns, and that caused a little bit of controversy as well. There's people saying it's a cosmetic item. It don't matter, okay? Spend it if you do. Some people are saying that this is way too expensive for a mount, period. Okay? Some people are saying that it's not so much the mount was expensive, it's that it's limited time and we didn't know the price ahead of time. So we could have saved up for it rather than going, oh my goodness, I should have bought this. Some people don't care. So there's a lot of different sides to this. There's technically 4 sides to this of people who like the mount, people who think it's too expensive, people who don't like the way it was presented, and people who don't care. And we have 4 hosts. This is perfect. So I kind of want to talk about this and go from there. So let's go around the table and we'll give our thoughts on this real quick, and we'll probably just, if there's any discussion, we'll have it, but let's talk about it. Avi, why don't you go first, sir?
Can I just, sorry to be really rude and interrupt, can I just say that for anyone who isn't familiar, 4,000 crowns, if you were to buy them outright, you'd probably buy either a 5,000 crown pack or a 3,000 and then a 1,500. Either way, it's going to cost you, in the UK, it's about £20 to buy this mount. And that's, I think, about $25, $30 US. So that's what we're talking about here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is more expensive. Like, this is the same price as going to be the Dark Brotherhood Collector's Edition pack that has the DLC, 5 crown scrolls, a pet, and a mount in it. So it's expensive. Not quite as expensive as the Assistants, but that was something else. Yeah, it is what it is.
And as Nate said, that's one of the big things right there is that it's 4,000 crowns. That's not a numbered crown that you can go buy.
Yeah.
You can't go buy 4,000 crowns. You always have to buy more now because it adds up to about 4,500 or buying the 5,000 one or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes this price is a little sketch because no matter what you have to buy more or spend more money to get it if you don't already have the crowns saved up. Not to mention that 4,000 crowns. I mean, we thought they were just like testing the water when it came to the ice horse or whatever it was. And this shows were they testing it, or was that just the price they thought it was worth? Because it's not worth it in my eyes, and this is definitely not worth it in my eyes. This is the price of 2 DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
That's absurd for a freaking mount. I think it's ridiculous.
For a skin.
For a
It's
skin,
not even
exactly.
a different model. It's
Exactly.
just a
Thank you.
regular Sense Tiger cat thing.
Very
It's
true.
just electric.
And I do
At least
want,
the camel spat.
Issy Queen on Twitch says she agrees with the price is okay. If people want to buy it, then buy it. If not, if they think it's too much, then don't buy it. It's easy. Some people do take that camp.
Well, but I think the idea is just how far are they going to go
Right.
with future mounts, with future cosmetic items, saying, oh, we're going to put this one for 4,000, and it's like, well, if people are buying this and have no problem with it, soon enough we're going to see a mount come on the store for 5,500 crowns, and people can go, well, it's okay, if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it. And it's like, no, this is getting a little absurd, a little crazy and out of hand.
I don't want to add too much between us before I get to Ark, because I want to hear Ark's thoughts. But since Nate made a comment about it not just being a skin, I think a lot of the hate was not the fact that it was a unique model. If this was a unique model mount that came out and it was 4,000 that we've never seen before, okay. But it was a Sench. They're using all the rigging from the Sench that they already have, just with a new skin on it. All those mounts were 2.5K. Is it our
like a bull netch? Think of if they randomly release like a bull netch mount and they're like it's 5,000 crowns.
Yeah,
It's like, well,
that'd make more sense.
that's awesome. There's no such thing as a bull netch mount. They're very rare. So make it 5,000 crowns, sure. But something like this, which is just another Senche or Panther or whatever the heck it is,
It's literally a copycat.
Right.
Yeah.
Ark, what are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, as someone who is a student and doesn't keep his subscription up too long, doesn't buy crown packs, I like the idea that it's 4,000 crowns. Because I don't even buy the normal mounts, most of them. I have the Loyalty Tiger, I have the Grey Yokuden Charger, and that's it for me. And it's enough for me. But if people are buying the 4,000 crown mount, that means, and I'm sure that in ZeniMax Online they are doing the math about releasing a 4,000 crown tiger and a 2,000 crown tiger. Considering that if it's 4,000 crown, less people will buy it. If it's 2,000 crown, more people will buy it, but it will be cheaper. I'm sure they are doing this. They are doing the math, and they are going for the choice that will bring them more money. And if this brings them more money, and if that turns to me as a new content in the future, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with it is that it's limited time. Because I like the Sencha Tiger, and in the future, maybe 6 months from now, I would have enough crowns to buy it. Like, my crowns would stack, and I would have buy it. But Right now, I don't have enough crowns. Right now, I barely keep my subscription up. And in 5 days' time, this tiger will be gone, and I won't be able to buy it ever again. Same thing happened with the hero costumes as well. I mean, I didn't like the Nord one a lot, but if I had enough crowns, like if I had extra crowns at that moment, I would have bought it. But I didn't. So my problem is that it's limited time.
Right.
Other than that, I don't have any problems with the price, because eventually my crowns will stack up, because I don't buy everything in the crown store. I only buy the things that I would use regularly. And I won't have anything to do with those crowns, those stacked crowns. So I would buy it. It wouldn't be a problem for me.
Which is perfect if they ever implement Nate's idea of allowing the entire back catalog, if you're a subscriber, sub up and go, okay,
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
now here's the last 3 years worth of store items. Let me find what I want and buy it.
Just let me rent one from a stable for 1,000 gold for like 24 hours. Like, the problem is the novelty wears off, and it's just not worth it. Like, it'd be a great, like, the stables, let's make them more useful. Rent an electrified cat. That would be brilliant. Sorry, is it my turn to rant?
It is your
yet?
turn.
Excellent. I've got a head start. Well, what I just said, again, I would like that, please. Rental mounts. But it was... I mean, I think I've made my opinion clear, and I don't have anything else to add, really, that hasn't been said already now. But there were some really interesting comments on the forum, and it's worth a read. It's mostly hateful, but there's some funny ones in here. Like, there's one from someone called Arkvaril, who said, sorry, I'm going to laugh reading this, called the wife, let her know that amount. Oh, shit. Right, sorry. Really going badly here. Called the wife, let her know that amount I wanted was going to be on the crowns. Sorry, we'll have to come back to this. I can't get through this without It's just too funny.
I love it.
It's just too
We're going to
funny.
let you compose yourself, because this sounds amazing. So.
All right. I don't think I'm going to get through it, because all I can see in my head is a guy phoning up his wife because he's seen a cat that he wants to buy in a game. Anyway, we'll try once more and then I'm moving on. Called the wife, let her know that amount I wanted was going to be on the crown store. Oh, sorry, Zos. I'm just sorry. Anyway, it's on the forum. Go and read it.
Well, now I want to know what it is. I think someone else needs to read this. Link it, and I'll read it, because I feel like I have to now.
All right.
Because it sounded
All right,
hilarious.
hang on. Let me just link this to you in Skype, because I'm obviously not going to be able to get through it. It's because of the mental image I have of just some guy calling up his wife and saying, like, I just really want to buy this, but oh my god, it's more expensive than I said it was.
It was kind of like...
Go.
It was kind of like when we were in Discord and we were doing a bunch of memes, and I couldn't help but laugh every time I saw one of the memes about raiding with Krabby. I've seen it 50 times, but every time I scrolled up and saw it again, I was weeping laughing. And I'm at work, so I have to try to maintain... It was funny because I'd scroll down and I'd stop laughing. I'd scroll back up and see it again and just start laughing again. Every single time.
Yeah. Honestly, that's exactly how I feel about some of the things on this thread, and some of the images that are in there as well are very, very funny.
So I found this. This is from forum user Arkvarel. That's what his name is. +1. Called the wife. Let her know the amount that I wanted to be in the crown store and that I wanted to buy it. She asked me how much. I said it'd be $30 to be safe. I have some crowns left over from my ESO Plus. I got the go-ahead and did not draw any wife aggro. Then I see it's going for 4K. Sad face. Zos, you had my money, but not now. It's absolutely ridiculous price. And he goes on saying he won't be buying it. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Called the wife.
No. Carry on with the last paragraph.
I will not be buying this mount, and I would suggest that everyone do the same. In fact, when I get home, since this post is asking for pictures of our new mounts, I say everyone post pictures of the mount that you'll be riding because this one is too expensive.
Oh, I like that.
Sorry, I couldn't get through that in one go, I'm afraid.
There you go.
There are a couple of others that were quite funny on this, but one interesting one was from a guy called N. Brucus, who says, am I the only one that doesn't have an issue with this? I won't be buying it, but if people want to give us money for something pretty and no more functional than a brown horse, have at it. And I did agree to begin with But then somebody else whose username is completely unintelligible to me replied to say, because next time you actually want something, Zos might decide they'll charge 6k crowns for it. And that's the best reason not to buy this, is if this is an experiment to see how much will people pay for something that technically already exists, if 10% of everyone who buys a mount that day buys £4,000 worth of copied cat, then yeah, we'll see it again, and then it'll be 6k next time. Like, this is 4k, and last time it was 2.5. That's exactly how it will go. And I do agree with the idea that if people want to spend huge amounts of money on things that are for vanity reasons, that only exist for vanity reasons, then fair enough. But it does set a dangerous precedent if a bunch of people do go out spending £20, $30 worth of crowns on something like this. As I think Avi was saying earlier, paying this for a netch, like, imagine that, or a dragon. I mean, who wouldn't pay 10,000 crowns to ride a dragon around Tamriel? Like, we know it's not going to happen, but if they did do it, I mean, just shut up and take my money. We all know that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's going to happen instantly. But this is not a dragon. It is not a netch. It is basically the black Senshi Panther that I've already got with an electric shock problem.
Right.
And that's not worth 20 quid.
There you go. Well, guys, we got to restart the Tales show because Amanda just showed up, so I'm going to go ahead and here we go.
Dungeon Crawler Network.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. We're not restarting the show, Amanda. You'll have to watch it. Catch the first half.
Amanda in chat?
Yeah, Amanda in chat's like, okay, I'm here. Restart the show, please.
Amanda came in chat, and Avi just left.
And Avi just left. Well, yeah, he's scared.
Do you not think they might be the same person? Because I've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
I had to shut the dog up.
I hear you. All right, well, I'm going to touch on this real quick. And then we'll end it here, and we'll let you to form your own opinions on this. Because we've heard people, like, Arknir's kind of in the camp of, I can't afford it, but great. Okay? If Zos buys it, there you go. Avi seems to be kind of in the camp of, this sucks, it's way too expensive. Same with Nate. I'm going to say, a lot of the issues that I see with it is the fact that it's limited time. Now, Zos, if you implement the ESO Plus thing, that we have the entire catalog, my problem goes away. But I'm going to refer to an article that Asari wrote, which Aloha Wendy also did a video on the Sench mount and linked the Asari's video. So it's all over the his article on his blog, The Errant Penman, because he was on the show last week. He's also part of Tamriel Foundry. Was talking about the marketing of this mount. It's the fact that they've hyped this mount up for a while, they've showed it off, make people want it, but give no pricing info for it. And then when they release it, they make it limited edition, 4,000 crowns, which is way higher than any other mount's ever been. And part of this is our own fault, because all the other Senche mounts were 2.5k. Zos didn't really lie to us, didn't really deceive us in any way, they just didn't correct our assumption that... I assumed it would be 2,500 crowns. When I logged on, that's what I expected it to be. Because all the others were. Is that the precedent? Is Zos at fault for making that change? No, I am, because I made an assumption. They didn't correct it. There it is. It's my fault for making that assumption. Is the mount really expensive? Yes. Did Zos say they wanted these prestige mounts to be expensive? Yes, they did. Are they in the wrong? No, they're not. Is the mount a little too expensive? Personally, I'm a guy who has a little bit of disposable income. I mean, I pay for the show. Patreon helps us out with that. I have a little bit of I was able to stand up the show. I pay for all the hosting. Now, of course, our Patreon supporters now make that less. Now I have more money to spend on crowns. But I have the income to buy this. So I'm in a different position than Ark is, who doesn't, as being a student, doesn't have the disposable income. Could I have went and bought a crown pack just at will to buy this? Yes. I actually bought this mount because I did like the way it looked. I thought it would go great with my Khajiit.
Did you buy the mount?
I did. I have it.
You bought the £4,000 cap mount.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I also had 20K crowns.
Wow.
So I did. I bought it because I wanted it for a character that I had. I honestly don't care. My big thing is the fact that it was limited edition. Now, if Zos would come back, this is the thing they haven't confirmed for us, was the these limited time stuff. Will they come back in the store? They've never told us that. If they would
but that's because it is such time-tested, proven, brilliant marketing.
It is.
To give the illusion of temporary availability.
Right. I don't even mind temporary. Other games have done this. Guild Wars 2 is famous for this, bringing something in and then taking it out after the storyline's done. They've done this with several item skins that were relevant to the story at the time. They took them away, but then 6 months down the road, they bring them back for a week or two. Whoever's typing, you might want to mute yourself.
I forgot it was muted, but my mute button isn't working apparently.
I'm just hearing like frantic typing. I'm like,
it's this new. I got a mechanical keyboard. They're so loud, man.
They are. Just because you probably got, what are they? The brown keys? Is that what they are? The cherry reds or whatever. There's different.
No, it's like.
Yeah. No, they there's actually, if you look it up for mechanical keyboards, there's a list of how the key is designed, and they're called like cherry red, cherry brown, whatever, that design the way they click. One of them is it's still a mechanical keyboard, and you feel the click, but the way it's designed, it doesn't make sounds.
I got the Black Widow. Sorry to get off topic. I got the Black Widow stealth, so I thought stealth meant wider keys.
Black Widow uses brown, I think, which is the click.
Brown.
You hear it. I think it's brown. It's been a while since I looked at the chart. Regardless,
you know, I just got for the second time in 5 minutes got server overcapacity on the Elder Scrolls forums.
Wow.
502 error.
It's because you're welcome, Delty. It's because we linked the video, made everyone aware, and they're all going there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, it's all our fault. Anyway, I had disposable income. I bought it because I wanted it for a character. I don't mind that it's 4,000 crowns. I bought WoW mounts that were $40 already, and they were a sub-only game. Now they don't update their cash shop as often, so $40 to me isn't as bad because it's not like I have to whip it out every 4 months. Every month. It's every 4 months, 5 months, but it helps Zos out. My big complaint is the fact it's limited time. Even if Zos came to us and confirmed that yes, these limited time mounts will come back, we're not going to tell you when, but we may randomly bring them out for another week, I wouldn't feel so bad about missing them, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, I know, we got to run through this. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, again, a lot of this reason, if it were another game, I probably wouldn't, but I love ESO, so if I'm giving them money, it's so they can continue to develop the game that I love. If it were any other game that I wasn't so invested in, I'd have been like, screw it. That's how I feel about it. It's honestly the only reason why I deem that I wanted it was because I did have an idea for a character that I wanted it on, and I also felt that I'm supporting a game that I love. And because I do love ESO so much, I'm a little more forgiving than I would be in WoW, for instance, or anything else. There we go. All right, guys, let's move on because we are running over time right now. That was our discussion topic for this week. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments for this video, and we'll go from there. Let's talk Tales real fast because I know Nate has to step out here soon. So let's go ahead and do our Tales, and then we'll try to wrap this up fairly quickly. So Nate, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done a few things since being back online. As everyone knows, I was off for about a month, so I had a huge gap in my in my gaming time. But I never did anything with vampires. So over the last couple of weeks, I've leveled up Vamp, and it turns out I don't like playing a vampire. And it was a complete, not waste of time, because I learned a bit, and I do like the Bat Swarm Ultimate. It's very, very useful in PvP, which I knew anyway, but I'd never used it myself. But I feel, being heavily invested in stamina and damage, the vampire just makes me far too squishy, and it benefits if you have a lot of magicka, which I have very, very little of. So it was kind of an interesting little experiment, but ultimately one I need to go back from, and I'm going to move back into werewolf for my sort of mutation-based world skill. But that was a fun little experiment to play as a vampire for a while. Also, I have to say, one of the things I don't like about it is that the vamps are really, really ugly, and Miss Misa is very not ugly, and I don't like seeing her veins on her legs in the new Bosmary outfit that was in the Crown store that I bought. So that's definitely a contributing reason for me wanting to go back to werewolf. Anyway, I wanted to get Thieves Guild and Hrothgar stuff finished because I've been dragging my heels not wanting to finish them because I didn't want to think I've got nothing new left to do. But now Dark Brotherhood's almost out, and I still haven't finished Hrothgar, and I still haven't finished Thieves Guild. So I've been playing with my my brother, and we've been finishing Thieves, really enjoying it. Avi, please don't spoil the ending for me yet, but I'm getting close, and I'm really loving that. And the other thing is I rolled a brand new character, a Bosmer, a Wood Elf Nightblade, which not a recommended combination necessarily, but it's quite fun. And started back at square one in EP, going through the original Stonefalls and Deshaan quest line, which I haven't done since the game first came out. So it's quite fun playing through some of those old zones again for the first time. And it's weird because you can really feel in those starter cities, you can really feel how the game has evolved in the over 2 years that it's been in existence now. Like the storyline, the arts, the kind of quests that you're doing, like they're stylistically quite different. I've been doing Thieves Guild on Miss Misa and who's my main, and then doing Stonefalls and Deshaan on my new Misa character, and yeah, playing them at the same time, you can really feel the difference in some of the writing and sort of how the zones and the quests are put out, which I found quite interesting and almost nostalgic. But anyway, she's at level 23 now, so getting through quite nicely. And yeah, that's been my 2 weeks really.
Okay, Avi.
Yeah, but hold on, okay? Let me pull this up here. All right, so I've been I've been running a lot of dungeons this week, like a lot of dungeons. I decided that I wanted to get the Night Flame Helm, so I ran Elden Hollow maybe 30-40 times. I ran it a lot of times. I'm probably the best healer ever for that dungeon now. No, not just saying. And I ended up getting 3 of them, even though I never really got exactly what I wanted. I got a heavy, well-fitted, a medium reinforced, and a medium infused. The medium infused kind of works because my shoulder is heavy, so for the Undaunted passive, which my character doesn't have access to yet, that can come in handy for those. But I'm still aiming for light infused or light divines. Then I ran what was that? City of Ash? The one with Valkynscoria?
Yep.
Yeah, I ran that very randomly with a random group, and it was funny because I jumped into it, and the dungeon was already 3/4 done. So they're like, oh, just run up to us. Sorry, our healer left. So I was like, okay, sure. So I ran up to them, I killed 2 bosses with them, and I got a Valkynscoria medium defiance.
There you go.
That was nice. They're like, oh, of course, the guy who just jumps in gets the helm. I was like, yeah,
Sure
yeah.
did.
And then after that, and let's just throw this out here. This is all in like a 2-day period. The Valkynscoria and the next couple of helms I got in the same day. I ran Fungal Grotto, and I got the helm from there too. I can't remember what it is, but it was like heavy, well fitted, so it wasn't even that good. And then the big story of my tales, I ran, and I feel really bad because I can't remember the tank's name, so I'm sorry, but I ran with Miss B and Flyboy, and they decided, oh, let's go run through Vet Weichel Tower. So I said, sure, I'll heal. I need to get the achievement. Miss B was trying to get the helm, so I was like, oh, well, this will work out. They seem like they know what they're doing. And we completed it. I finally completed that White Gold Tower. It made me a very, very happy guy. And to top it off, I got a Moloch Kenna helm first try. Heavy Divines.
Very nice.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the cool thing is Miss B also got a Heavy Divine. So we got 2 Moloch Kenna helm drops in the same run. Same trait, same weight, same everything. So it was a very, very good time. That dungeon is one of a kind. I absolutely love it. I adore it. I love the challenge of the dungeon. The planar inhibitor, it's just like the most smash heading into my desk thing that I've played in this game. And I love that.
We got to run ICP at some point. I actually need to get some people to run that with me. So.
I need to run ICP too, so I'm more than up for it, because that's pretty much next on my to-do list is ICP and Veteran Maelstrom. I've been trying Veteran Maelstrom. I get to like the 3rd round, but by that time I've already died like too many times. I think you get like 15 deaths or something like that.
I think so.
And I'm always like over halfway through it, so it's like yeah, I'm just gonna stop here, because by the time I get to one of the last rounds, I'm gonna have like 1 or 2 deaths remaining before I just fail it.
Right.
So, but that's on my to-do list, and that's been my tales, just collecting helms and not getting Ancient Guardian.
Ark, what about you, sir? What have you been up to?
Last week, surprisingly, I made it to Pledge Night. I think I ran... Well, I don't remember what the dungeon, but it was Amanda, Avi, and I think it was Galiskner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Midway through the dungeon, I don't know what happened, but I decided not to tank and let them die. And at that point, somewhere around that point, I started to float away, like through the walls, through everything. I like Avi, Amanda, and Galiskner is staying here, and I just started to float away from the dungeon, more and more far away, going through all the walls and stuff. Anyway, we got to the last boss. I thought they were going to die, and I was watching happily. Instead, none of them lost health. So I decided to, watch and eat cake, which was
Literally.
good. Yeah, I just dropped the jubilee cake and started eating it while they fought the boss. So yeah, Avi is a good healer, by the way. You can know from that.
Yeah, thanks.
Didn't die at all without the tank. After that, on last Friday, not this one, we were going to run the Maw of Lorcash, but I realized too late that my ESO Plus subscription was off. And it took me around 30 minutes to get it back up, because PayPal pushed my transaction into pending mode, so we had to wait. Sorry about that, guys, whoever was in the trial that night. We didn't complete it. Unlike this Friday, we finally completed the Maw of Lorcash when I was here. So
wow.
Yeah, I got the achievement finally, which was fun, which is nice. Then of course we continued to try fishing night, and I'm not going to go into details of the fishing night, because it was very DCN after dark.
Yes, it was.
It got too dark. Like, so yeah, if Ags want to talk about it, I'll leave it to him. But yeah, that was my 2 weeks in Elder Scrolls Online.
What happens during fishing stays in fishing. That's why it's...
Yeah, I completed Maw of Lorcash, and I learned that I'm not needed as a tank.
There you go.
only in silver pledge.
Gold pledge.
It was still
need
year
to-
16 though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I got cake. I don't care.
Hey, I got kicked.
I'm going to do that in all the dungeons from now on. Like in Veteran White Gold Tower, I'm going to stop and eat cake.
Just stop and eat
See
cake.
what happens then.
The planar inhibitor. Arc gets freaking portals. It's like, no. No. We need some cake, guys.
Eating some cake. There you go. All right, real quick, my tales. I'm gonna go this real quick. I started questing through Grotwood, and I know everyone hates Grotwood, but I actually really like Grotwood, and everyone says it's because of the elevation. It's all over the place. That's one of the most charming things about it. kind of calls to my exploring nature because I like that. So it's really cool. Completed a bunch of the... I'm actually almost done with Grotwood already. I ran Vet White Gold Tower with Nerdman and his wife, Lids, Linway, because I do that every time they're on. They're like, White Gold Tower? I'm like, yes. I've run that thing probably 50 times already. So that's really cool. I got out of the frying pan achievement for something in Planar Inhibitor, getting attacked by, I think, like the blue flame, surviving, and then... Yeah, so that one was interesting. Ran with Kings and Thieves and ran Sanctum Ophidia. Got the Feeding Pit achievement. That was fun. South Point. The quest in South Point, I don't want to give too much away, but that was an amazing quest line in Grotwood, so everyone should do that. And then I ran some Sky Shards with the Wings of Fate Guild. That's our guild. And Glassner's PvP event, so we had some fun there. If you check my Twitter, there's tons of achievement spam, because that's what I do on there. Every time I get an achievement, I just link that, because it's fun. Ooh, PvP night. We had some fun. I'll get to that. We got... What other achievements did I get in PvP? I got, like, the... killing somebody with only 5% health left. Because that was
nice.
That was fun.
That's a good one.
And close call kill, which is killing someone with less than 5% health yourself. Probably because I wasn't running my PvP build, because my PvP build's Stamina, and I've been Magicka this patch. I'm going back to Stamina next patch. And I'm going to move all my Magicka to my Alt Templar, so if I need to run my Magicka build, I can. And I got Sweet Vengeance.
But you love Magic so much, jealous?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm going back. I've reached the point where Stamina is more fun in PvP, and I've been doing more PvP lately. And with the buffs to Stamina, I probably won't beat Magicka DPS, but if I'm competitive, great. And if for some odd reason I'm not doing enough damage, I'll switch to my Alt Templar, who will now be max level, and she'll be my Magicka build. So if my Stamina is not doing enough to compete, I'll switch. That's just how we'll roll with it. But yeah, that's been pretty much my week, or last 2 weeks really. So we're gonna go ahead and move right on into our email section in our mailbag, because we have 2 reviews from iTunes. So Avi.
We do. First up is from Ryan Z. It says, must listen for any ESO player, 5 stars. When I came back to ESO after being gone for 3 months, I wanted a podcast to listen to about the game. I ended up finding Tales and instantly fell in love. The show has an amazing cast of characters and all with different points of view. They also always cover all the news about the game that I would probably have overlooked, and I find that very useful for any ESO fan. I have even recently started listening live and definitely won't be stopping anytime soon. Thank you, Ryan. Very nice of you. And the last one we got is a great podcast, 5 stars from Captain AA Ron. I love listening to the podcast at work. This is the first podcast I listen to Monday mornings.
I'm glad we could make your Monday good for you, sir. And we're glad that you listen. Thank you guys so much for those 5-star reviews on iTunes. If you want to help support the podcast, you can leave those reviews there as well. That helps gets us more exposure, shows our podcast off. We're nearing 100 reviews so far, which is really awesome, and we're still carrying a 5-star rating. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. It means the world to us that you guys enjoy the show so much. You guys are the best. All right, guys, it's the end of the show. Final thoughts. Let's get them out there, wrap this up, and go back and play some ESO, because I need to get a group for veteran ICP before they nerf it. So, yeah. Avi, why don't you go ahead and go first? Then we'll have Ark and Nate give your thoughts, where you can find you.
Sure. Yeah, sure. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. Ark, good having you on, and Nate, good having you back.
Thank you, man.
So, yeah, I had a good time, a lot of good discussions. Where you can find me, you can find me everywhere, Avi Optimal, AVIOPTIMAL. That's on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. And one last thing, non-video game related, go Sharks. We're going to the Stanley Cup. Woo!
Oh, all right. Ark, go for it.
Well, it's always a joy being on the show, so thanks for inviting me again. Obviously, I'm excited for Dark Brotherhood, but it's my finals week. In like the next 2 weeks is my finals week, so I won't be able to play much. Other than that, we had really good discussions, some serious topics. So it was a bit in serious mode, but I always enjoy it. Other than that, there is a European PC guild for Dungeon Crawler Network, but I've been unable to look into it because of my exams and stuff like that. But now that Nate is back, I believe we can start promoting it a lot more, like in-game and in the forums.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I've been checking in there and keeping my eye on things, and we've got a few members, but we could do with some more.
Yeah. As I said, I was unable to promote it to the advertisements and stuff a lot. So, but I will start doing that. If you want to join, you can either message Nate or me. That is at Arkanir on Twitter, Gmail, in-game, wherever. That is ARKHANIIR. You can find me anywhere with that name. Feel free to come join us in the PCU side because it's lonely there. It's lonely.
It's lonely without.
Yeah.
It's lonely with. What am I trying to say here? It's not a lonely place, but it is lonely without you, dear community of global ESO people.
So that's it from me.
Excellent.
Maybe we'll get Ag to download the European client and come and join us for a guest bit of European fishing.
I should
Oh.
do some European fishing as well. Yeah. I do need to download it, so I'll probably start a download for the EU side.
We'd love that. We'd love that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll kick it off today. That way it starts downloading. I'll be ready in 30 minutes. I love my internet. It only takes like 30 minutes to download ESO from scratch. It's amazing.
It's good, isn't it? It's good. I think yours is about the same speed as mine now, isn't it?
It is 175 meg down, I think, right now. So
I think mine's 230 down, but you've got much faster up, I think, than me.
Maybe. My
I
up speed's
vaguely
nothing.
remember.
My up
Oh,
speed's
right.
nothing to crack at. It's like 25 on a good day. But still a lot better than my 3 meg down, 256 kbs up that I had for the past 5 years. So I relish in it. All right, Nate.
Oh yeah, me. Well, as was said, we have Dungeon Crawler Network Guild open in EU. You can message me. That's Lanxon101, Lanxon 101, or search Miss Misa, or find me on Twitter, Nate ESO on Twitter, for my Elder Scrolls Twitter account, and that's probably the best thing to do. And send me a message if you 2 or 3 people have added me over the last couple of weeks that in the game, which I assume is a result of the show. The problem is that I don't know if it's a result of the show. So if you do add, I accept everyone because I'm open to new friends. But if you do listen to the show, then drop me a message and say hey, and then maybe we can do a dungeon or something. And someone needs to take me through White Gold Tower and some trials because I haven't done any of them yet. And I don't want to do it with my guild because I like to hold the image that I'm a lot better than I actually am. So if I let my guild know I haven't even done them once, they'll never let me run with them. So we can do this as a wonderful community. You can support me. It will be very much appreciated.
Some people on chat, I want to address this real quick. There is a rampant hack issue going on right now. We have notes on it, but I didn't want to talk about it this week because I want to research it a little bit more. We will be talking about it next week. But yeah, I don't want anyone to know like we didn't forget it. It's just I have notes on it, but they're not complete enough, and I didn't want to talk about it without being sure. Some people were asking if we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about that next week because I'm sure it won't be fixed by next week. But I didn't want to just didn't mention it in passing without giving it the proper time that it deserves. Okay, as for myself, thank you guys for coming out. And chat rooms, both Twitch and YouTube. You guys were fantastic. Twitch had quite a few viewers today. So thank you guys for coming out. We record every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe to us, follow us, because we do this every week. We've been doing it for a long time. All right, you can find me in game at Aggelos, Aggelos. Oh, there's some typing in there. You can find me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all you, Avi. Twitter, Aggelos_WOF. Follow everything we do, DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com, Facebook group, Dungeon Crawler Network. Of course, we have the EU and Guild. We have a Xbox 1 guild on consoles. That's Gentleman Sour. You can find him. Trying to build that guild up too, so we can do a bunch of different community events all over the place. And once these guilds get enough members, I'm sure we'll get some events going in those. Of course, the US mega server, we have our primary guild, and it's only primary because that's where I started it. I don't want to say like it's primary versus secondary. We just got to build up our other ones. They started later. We do events almost every day, so if you're in the US, come on out and join us. Most of it's centered around EP, so if anything is restricted by faction, it's probably going to be EP. But if you can go, if it's cross-faction, any faction will do. Trials, pledges, those fun things. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, great Memorial Day, and we will see you later.
A serpent lights the ancient sky, a thread of tainted stars. Evil stirs, and in its wake the souls of mortals sway. And sorrow reigns over fields of red, and spirits pace through the shadows cast by their graves. These are days and nights of venom and blood. Heroes will rise as the anchors fall. Brave the strive, reclaim every soul that belongs to the beauty of dawn. Darkness strikes to blind the strong, but faith will guide our swords. Loyal hearts will stand as one and fight with shields of hope. Pride feels the deadly fire that devours our tower of gold. The drums of war will rage and roar till the sun burns bright once more. These are days and nights of venom and blood. Heroes will